Welcome back, Beans Army, to another episode of the Less is More Sports podcast. Ryan is back with us on this episode, and today, because it's been a couple weeks since he's been on the show, he wanted to come to me and be like, "Hey, there's kind of a few things that I want to rant about." So that's basically what we're gonna do today. Me and Ryan are gonna pick 5 topics in both college football and college basketball that we just want to rant on. So I think we should go ahead and just get started. And Ryan, what is the first topic you want to rant about today? The floor is yours.
All right. So, and by this topic, you can choose anything from any year or literally anything. I think my first topic is kind of going to set the bar on really what you can choose. Literally anything. I got this idea from Brandon Walker, who's part of Barstool, because he does these TikTok videos, and I think it's super cool. And I may have taken some of their ideas because they're really good. So, with setting the bar, with my first college football topic I can rant about, I will be talking about the Mississippi State Cowbells. And if you know what I'm talking about, is no band, the stadium cannot play music during the game. They cannot have the band playing music. Nothing noise related can happen during the game besides the crowd. But Mississippi State is allowed to ring, 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 ring those cowbells for 3 straight hours. It is so annoying. That's why I don't watch Mississippi State games, and it's just way over the top. And I'm surprised the SEC even allows this. Come on now. I mean, the cowbells, they're so loud and they're so annoying, and you can hear it in the TV broadcast, and it's for 3 straight hours. I'm sure it gets annoying in stadium. And yeah, so that is my first one, the Mississippi State Cowbells and how annoying they are and how I'm surprised they even let this happen.
Wait, you mean to tell me they can't play music at all?
Well, not during the game. Not like I'm meaning like you can't play music
Well,
during the
yeah.
game while the players are playing, but the cowbells are like ring ring ring.
First of all, that being said, remind me to never get into an arm wrestling competition with any Mississippi State fan because if you're bringing a cowbell for 3 straight hours, bro, those
True.
forearm muscles got to be like off the charts, dude.
They're all jacked.
And second of all, right, they are all jacked. And second of all, shout out to Brandon Walker because he to this day has one of my favorite all-time sports reels. The one where a Kentucky fan calls into his show and talks about how good Will Levis is. And Brandon Walker's just going down the line. It's like he has no games over 200 yards in SEC play. And the dude just like, yeah, but he got that dog in him. And then Brandon Walker's just like, what the hell does that even mean? Yeah, that is
I
my
think I've
one of my
seen that.
favorite all-time clips, my favorite all-time sports reels. So shout out to Brandon Walker on that. So I guess it's my turn to rant about my first topic.
Yep.
So
And so Les, you were doing I'm doing college football, you're doing college basketball, but you do have a college football one, right?
I do have a college football one, but
Do
it's
whatever you feel like doing.
don't tell me how to live my life, Ryan.
Hey, hey, hey now. Does Bean tell
Anyways,
you what to do?
yes. I always tell people like it's his condo, I just pay the bills. Ain't that right? You want to say something? No.
That's
He's
fair.
like
That's fair.
he wasn't even on last episode, so welcome back to Bean officially.
Yeah, both of us.
I guess because he didn't think Matt could hear me, he's like, well, he can't hear me either, and if Matt can't hear me, I don't care. So yeah, he's
Okay.
back. Anyways, my first topic. Anybody who watches the show knows that I am the self-proclaimed recruiting expert on this show. And so my first topic, only fitting, has to do with the recruiting aspect of it. So here recently, Max Preps posted their list of the top 10 high school teams in the country. And that list is at number 1, Link Academy, number 2, Montverde, number 3, Prolific Prep, number 4, IMG Academy, number 5, Long Island Lutheran, number 6, Utah Prep, 7, AZ Compass Prep, 8, La Lumiere, 9, Brewster Academy, and 10, Dream City Christian. And I don't have a problem with any of the teams on that top 10. The problem I have with that list is who's not on that list. Columbus High School in Miami, who most fans know that high school as the high school that the Boozer twins play for, them not being top 10 is just mind blowing to me. To me, this is the best team in high school basketball. And my pick to win the Chipotle Nationals. So for them to not make crack the top 10 is something I just wanted to call out Max Preps on and be like and call BS on. I hope that I missed something in this list to where it says it's prep schools only, but I didn't see any of that justification in any of that notification in that list. So I wanted to rant and say, Max Preps, do better. You got to put Columbus in your top 10. Come on, do better than that. This is a team that went farther than Prolific Prep last year in the Chipotle Nationals. I mean, the only team their season was ended by arguably one of the best teams of all time in high school basketball. So, Max Preps, do better. That is my first topic I wanted to rant about.
All right. With my second, and when I say first and second, this is not what like I hate most. It's just the order I went in, and so it doesn't really matter. With my second, I will be going with the topic of ACC refs with Miami and refs in general. I mean,
Why did I
this
know that was coming?
I actually wasn't my idea. It was my dad's friend Steve's idea who helped me out, and it was such a good idea because this is getting absolutely crazy. It started out Miami was playing Virginia Tech. Game on the line, they threw a Hail Mary. It looked like it was caught at the end zone for a touchdown. That's what they called on the field. And then they go into this replay, and no there's nothing in the replay that shows that it's not a catch. Now, given that they called on the field that it was a catch, and I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it sounds like they're going to be helping out Miami, so they call it not a catch, and that saves Miami's undefeated season so far. And there's been multiple games where this has happened. There was a targeting call in Cal that would have kind of changed the game. I mean, Cal shouldn't have blown the lead for sure. That's on them. But it's just these calls that they're giving Miami in the Louisville game. There was a fumble call that was changed to not a fumble that was a huge part in the game where Louisville could have won. Now, given Louisville's defense was horrible, all right? It was horrible. We couldn't stop anything Miami, but our offense could score. That's why the over under before the game was like 60, 65 or something.
Hmm.
Well, we were by that at like halftime. I mean, the ending score was in the 90s. It was crazy. But and also I'm gonna go refs in general. I mean, the refs in general have gotten worse and worse. We're we're calling stuff on the field and then we're going to the replay and then we're either changing it or keeping it the same, and it's so noticeable of which call or which side the call should go to that it's just getting crazy. I mean, I don't know what the refs are saying, and these rules analysts don't really do anything. And guys like Joel Klatt will go after the refs, which I love Joe Klatt for that. He will go after the refs. He'll be like, "No, that's a terrible call" and stuff like that. But I'm just going to use this as an example and not being a homer. But Ohio State had a targeting penalty that was questionable last weekend. Well, we went to like the Big Ten and sent like something for them to review about the targeting call because the player was going to have to sit out the first half of this week's Penn State game, and he was our
Hmm.
backup linebacker, and we need him for the rotations. But we sent it to the Big Ten, and they were like, "Nope, that was not targeting. We'll take off the like I guess suspension for the first half." And it's crazy. I mean, we can do that now, and they'll sometimes change it, and that's happened multiple times. These refs are getting worse, and we need to somehow fix it. Maybe take off the dark glasses where they can't see or stuff like that. Come on now, we got to get these refs better. And it's not just Miami; it's around all of college football. But yeah, that is my second one. The refs in general and the ACC refs helping out with Miami.
Yeah, I definitely agree that Miami has had kind of a pandemic of biased officiating in their favor that kind of keep their undefeated season alive. But to Ryan's point, officiating has just seemingly gotten worse and worse as the years go on, and we definitely need to strive to get that under control because this is getting absolutely ridiculous at this point. So I definitely 100% agree with Ryan. Moving on to my second topic, and again, it's a college basketball recruiting topic. And UConn this week landed four-star Jacob Furphy. And many believe this kind of wraps up their recruiting class for the 2025 class. But it's not necessarily that they land Jacob Furphy that I want to talk about here today. Their head coach, Danny Hurley, made recent comments about the state of recruiting, and he kind of visibly showed frustration with the priorities of certain recruits. And basically, how I took that was shut the hell up. Um, he's made previous comments in the past about how he only recruits certain types of players, anyways. And whatever the hell he's doing is clearly working. I mean, he's built a back-to-back national championship program with UConn. They're a top three team going heading into the start of this college basketball season this year. Whatever you're doing is working. And now it's getting to the point to where he's building some sort of entitlement that because he's winning, he now can land any recruit he wants. And as we all know, that there is way more that goes into recruiting than just the success of the program. Player development, NIL, all that is a factor. And not to mention, UConn currently has the number 2 rated class of the 2025. Now there's a long ways to go, but still, you've put together a pretty solid class in your own right. My thing is, it's getting to the point where I like Danny Hurley as a coach. I think I like watching his teams play. I think he's a very good X's and O's coach. But if he's gonna keep whining about not getting his way, I mean, this is just getting annoying at this point. Like, dude, we know you didn't get Cooper Flag. We know you're more than likely not going to get a Caden Lewis. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but more than likely you won't land a Caden Lewis. The reality of recruiting is you're not going to be able to land everybody. Every recruit fits better, in different places. Just because maybe your program fits well for certain people does not mean that they're going to fit well for others. Get over it. You don't see some of the other good recruiters. Well, actually, I'm going to retract that statement. You don't see John Shire making those comments. I will say that much. You see John Calipari making those comments, but that's a story for another day. But just the entitledness by Danny Hurley to think just because that they're winning that he can now go in and pick and choose whatever recruits he wants, it's not realistic. Look, stick to what you're doing. Recruit those only certain types of players that you've been made public comments about and call it good. It's working for you. Quit whining. That wraps up my second topic.
By the way, is he related to not Danny Hurley, but Furphy? Is he related to
Johnny
Johnny
Furphy,
Furphy?
yes. Yeah, the one who played for Kansas last year. Yeah,
Plays
that's
for
his younger
Pacers
brother.
now. Yeah, plays for the Pacers now. Furphy, I like that
I think he
last
needed
name.
another year in college, but that's beside me. That's beside the point.
I would agree. Um. Okay. So for my third one, and this kind of ranges out because this is not current or anything. I will go with the 2017 UCF team who claimed that they were national champions because of them going undefeated. I mean, this was simply the dumbest thing, and this is why everyone, whenever they announced that they were national champions, this is why everyone went against them. And Scott Fraud was the coach of the UCF team, and I mean, we saw what happened at Nebraska. I mean, he was not good. I mean, UCF was, yeah. Congratulations, you went. I I guess 17-0. I don't really know, something like that. Maybe no, not 17-0. It was like 15-0 or something like that. Um, but yeah, congrats, you did. But you didn't play nobody, okay? And a couple years later, y'all thought you were good, and you had this hit stick on Joe Burrow, and that turns Joe Burrow into the greatest college football quarterback of all time with one of the best college football teams ever. So you really turned the demon into him, and this was just dumb. The Natty Champs all were undefeated the whole season. That claims we were Natty Champs, even though we haven't played nobody at all, and we have the best coach in America, and Scott Fraud. Yes, I know his last name is Frost. Okay, but
I would not have explained it. I would have just kept calling him Scott Fraud. I
yeah,
kind of dig it.
Fraud, Frog Fraud, Frost Fraud. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just think this was the dumbest thing ever, and they just that's how you get fans against you when you claim something that you have not they haven't held a trophy. So that is my third one, the UCF Natty James.
Was not expecting to hear that today. And that's and just for clarification, they did go 12-0, and they do have wins over LSU, Cincinnati, and Memphis on that team, who all were currently ranked in the top 25.
I sorry I got the number wrong. I don't know why I was saying 17-0. I think it's because I said 2017 that made me think of
Yeah,
17-17.
it was the
I meant
2017
12-0.
team. So yeah, 2017 team. Yeah, that
Bad
definitely
fraud.
makes sense.
12-0.
But
Fraud.
anyways, moving on to my third topic, also sticking to basketball recruiting here, and I'm going to talk about currently one of the most entertaining recruiting processes in college basketball at the moment. So we're following the recruiting of the number one ranked player of the class of 2025, AJ Dibansa. And many who follow the TikTok channel or the other reels on other various social media pages know that I made a video very recently on where his dad made recent comments about how NIL isn't his top priority and drops a hint that maybe Kentucky is a top choice for AJ. And which is ironic with that is because Kentucky really didn't make AJ's top six. So there was kind of some room for speculation there. But the latest development is that BYU is the overwhelming, and I mean overwhelming, they're 100% favorite to land AJ Davansa, which brings me to my next point. We got to at some point have to talk about the job that head coach Kevin Young is doing on the recruiting end at BYU. He's using his NBA background to elevate BYU recruiting. This past recruiting cycle, he landed five-star Igor Dimon, who many believe is one of the top prospects of this next NBA draft. He has been rated as high as number 3, only behind Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey. And now, if he can land AJ Dibansa, that'll be back-to-back classes that BYU lands an overwhelmingly five-star recruit. And when is the last time we really could say that? I mean, BYU's never really recruited prospects of this caliber. And the ironic part, sorry, Kentucky, sorry, not sorry, Kentucky fans. The ironic part about all of this is that this is all the coach following the departure of Mark Pope. But anyways, AJ Dabance's list does include BYU, Alabama, UNC, Kansas, Kansas State, and you got to throw. And apparently, given his dad's comments, you might have to throw Kentucky in there as well. But if BYU can land, AJ Dibansa. I mean, that's really going to put BYU on the map for being a hot spot in high school basketball recruiting. And not to mention, Dibansa can play. I've said that, I've said on the podcast many times he's one of the most gifted scorers you'll see at this level, and I stand by that statement. There are some fundamental issues in his game that we'll talk about at another time, and why I don't think he should be the number one overall ranked player. But that is neither here nor there, nor the topic of this rant. But anyways, yes, AJ Dabansa has one of the most entertaining recruiting storylines that we are following in the high school basketball recruiting scene.
All right. On to me. For my fourth one, I will be choosing, and just wait. After I say the topic name, FSU not making the playoff. And I am on the side that they should have not made the playoff last year. And I still agree. Didn't think so then, still don't think so now. If Jordan Travis was healthy, yes, put him in because they're undefeated. Their whole team, mainly the whole team is healthy. I don't know the specifics. But yes, put him in. But no, they weren't at the level that they were playing with. You saw in the ACC championship where they barely beat Louisville. I mean, Louisville should have won that game. It made me so mad. There was just some players that played horrible, and I don't know. I feel like we could have won the game, but you were not going to do anything in the playoff with Brock Glenn as your quarterback. Nothing against Brock Glenn. He was a freshman, and it's not the same. You're going into the college football playoff, and yeah, they showed after not playing players in the bowl game. They really showed out against Georgia. What was it, like 63-3 or something like that?
Yeah.
Something crazy. And they're showing it this year. I mean, they're horrible. They cannot beat nobody. They lost to Duke for the first time ever, which is great for Duke. But yeah, I mean, they're really showing it this year, and this really puts up a lot of pressure on Mike Norvell and whether they're going to keep him or not. But I still think that they should not have made the playoffs, and they didn't. So, and they're showing it this year on being one of the probably I don't know really FSU's history, but probably one of the worst seasons ever. And they were ranked top 10, and DJU was buns. So yeah, so that's my fourth. FSU not making the playoff. I still agree, and I agreed back when it happened.
I do want to, for context, I do want to say I did give them the benefit of the doubt against Georgia because they did have 21 players that were sitting out in that game, and that is a lot to overcome. And then those same 21 players are missing from last year's team, but that doesn't excuse how absolutely buns they are this year. So, like that topic, I think that's kind of where Matt wanted to go in the group chat. Is like he wanted to. I think he wanted to do a own kind of episode on how hot of a seat Mike Norvell's on. I think Matt, it was going to be 40 minutes of Matt just coming at Mike Norvell. And that would have been entertaining as hell.
Go ahead, Matt.
Dark Matter,
Dark Matt, Demat, bunch
mid
of
major Matt, all coming at Mike Norvell. I dig it.
he had more nicknames than Oregon has jerseys.
Probably. I think
That's
he has more nicknames than I have friends. That's for sure.
fair.
Anyways, my number four topic, and I'm gonna switch it up from college basketball recruiting to college football recruiting. And all I gotta say is you just gotta love the state of NIL in college sports. Bryce Underwood is the number one ranked player of the class 2025. The five-star quarterback is currently committed to LSU, and teams are trying to flip him. Underwood is currently visiting other schools to see if he's made the right choice, but rumor has it that Michigan has offered Underwood an NIL package north of $5 million over the next 3 to 4 years. Michigan claims to have their most well-funded NIL operation since NIL began in 2021. Michigan alum and Barstool founder Dave Portnoy has offered $3 million of his own money to go towards Michigan NIL fund. And what I wanted to say is that this is going to be an absolute entertaining recruiting story to follow, just to see two teams duke it out. We could see a whole on LSU Michigan bidding war for the top player in the class of 2025, and I'm here for it. We got Barstool money versus Bayou money, and it's going to go be toe to toe, and I'm all here for it. So that concludes my fourth topic.
They should set up a home and home since this is happening.
Yeah, they should play a game just to see like who should win.
Yeah, I agree. And
Go head to head, LSU versus Michigan. Battle for
Carter,
Bryce.
Carter Smith just decommitted from Michigan, so that does stir up the pot a little bit. He was a four-star QB who just decommitted from from Michigan, which could be making a spot for Bryce Underwood. But we'll have to see. I mean, I hope nothing but the worst to the
What
Michigan.
I've seen of Bryce Underwood, there is no making a spot for him. He's going to come in and do what he wants. I mean, kid's legit.
Sure. But
I
yeah,
mean,
I hope,
anytime they compare you to Vince Young, like as your pro comp on your recruiting evaluations, you're doing something right.
yeah. But I hope nothing but the best for Bryce Underwood and nothing but the worst for Michigan and how they how they're going. I mean, they could be 500 this year, under or over.
Which
But
kind of makes our win over Michigan look a lot worse, if we ask
I
me.
know it does. It has. But that was really early. I almost forgot about that game. But I enjoyed watching that game.
Me,
Um,
me too.
but for my fifth one, I will be going with Dylan Raiola and Patty Mahomes. Okay. I was at the Ohio State Nebraska game last week. It was a struggle game for us. I understand. But I saw his warm up celebration or whatever you call it, where he runs down the field, stops in one place, jumps, flexes, and it's the same thing that Patrick Mahomes does. And he claims that, oh, I'm not trying to be Patrick Mahomes and other stuff like this. I grew up watching Tim Tebow. It's like that's not true. Hold on, I have to call. Okay. So it's like, dude, you dress like him, you look like him, you were like the same. Your whole style is him, and you're not him. Okay, you're not Patrick Mahomes. You threw three picks against Indiana, which, well, you know, maybe he is because Mahomes does lead the league in interceptions. Maybe he's trying to be like Mahomes and do everything right. You throw like him, and you're saying that you're not him, that you're not. like the cosplay of Patrick Mahomes, which you clearly are, and you're not like Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow's different, and Tim Tebow is absolutely jacked. Have you seen it? How jacked Tim Tebow is? That's besides the story, but I was just wanted to say that. But yeah, I
That kind of
mean,
reminds me of when you said you got on here a while back and said that a player had a nice body.
yeah, and my brothers absolutely flamed me for that. That was yeah. I don't. What topic was that? I don't know. It was something. It was like a ranking of players. I think.
All I remember is yeah, and he's got a nice body, and me and Matt were like, "Hey, yo." Well, no, I
Actually, I
actually
think it
more
was
so I
players
was
that were.
like that, and Matt was just kind of like just sitting there, just letting it happen.
I think it was the players that were gonna break out in the college football season or something like that, or NFL. But but yeah, I mean, Dylan Rayola, Patty Mahomes, it's just weird. It gets annoying. Patty Mahomes called it his little cousin, but I mean, I don't know. They're not actually cousins; it's just little cuz. But it's just it's getting nuts, and it's over the top, and everyone flames him for it, and I love it because he just wants to be him, and they're not like crazy far in age. I get like a little kid wanting to be Patrick Mahomes, but not a 20-year-old. He's like 18, but
You're
18 to
old enough
20.
to vote. You're old enough to stop acting like another grown man.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, it's just it's getting weird. I mean, just stop it.
It is getting a little bit cringe. And I think just to wrap up our rant, the topics we want to rant about today, I'm going to get into my fifth so we can get into some game predictions for later today. My number five topic goes back to college basketball recruiting, and I'm just going to shout out how big of a recruiting weekend it was. Friday, Darren Peterson committed to Kansas, five-star combo guard, very good pickup for the Jayhawks. Later today, a Caden Lewis and Shelton Henderson commit, and Lewis, I do expect to go to Kentucky. This is why I said that I didn't want to get too ahead of myself when I talked about that Danny Hurley was not going to land a Caden Lewis. Shelton Henderson, I expect him to go to one of my two teams, which is ironic because he's down to three schools. Both of my teams are in the running. So sorry, Louisville fans. I don't think you're going to get Shelton Henderson. So cry about it. Um, but the team I expect him to go to is Duke, and that's going to wrap up another really good recruiting class. We already got the Boozer twins. We got a four-star forward, and now with Shelton Henderson at the combo guard position. I mean, look, there isn't a better recruiter in college basketball than John Shire. And as much as Danny Hurley whines about not getting the players he wants, John Shire does get the players he wants. So cry about it some more. And also, Danny Hurley, I kind of like how I just went back to attacking Danny Hurley on this one. I'm going to
Danny
look you in
hater.
the eye right now. I know you'll probably never see this episode, but I don't care. I'm going to look you in the face and just say that get this deal done because you keep talking that trash about how you want to play a home and home with Duke, but you're the one that's been the holdup here. John Shire's already called and tried to set this up, and you're the one who's declined it. So quit being scared. Come to Cameron, take a ass beating on our home court, and that's all I have to say about that. And we officially got about 10 minutes to go. So now we get to talk about some game predictions.
You know,
So, what?
this would none of this would we would never we would not be talking about Danny Hurley if he just accepted that Lakers job.
I support him staying at UConn
I
personally.
do too, but it would have been it would have been funny.
Yeah, we would have never talked about Danny Hurley on this episode if he had taken the Lakers job. But personally, I think both parties made the right decision.
Yeah, I agree. Wait,
But anyway,
is that just because you're a JJ Redick fan, or are you?
no, I'm just watching the Lakers. I mean, this is one of
Yeah,
some of the most well-coached Laker teams I've seen, since Phil was there. I mean, I'm not talking about like, from a wins and loss standpoint, but I just watching them play in the sets that they run, like this is a well-coached team. This is a team that will finish way better than last season.
and they hustle.
And exactly, they do.
Yeah.
And they play with pace, they play with space, and they
I
actually
mean,
have active hands on defense, which is fun to see.
start Bronny James. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think that's happening.
No, I heard he's gonna be on like a five away game road trip, and then G League.
I thought he was already in the G League.
I mean, what was it? A couple nights ago, he scored for the Lakers against the Cavs.
Oh, that's well. I think that was the Cleveland homecoming. That was all for publicity.
Yeah,
Let's
they
that
honored Bronny.
that was a PR move.
Bronny was. It's
Bron's
like they honored Bron like the Cavs honored Bronny. It's the same thing with Thanasis Antetokounmpo. He's just a brother. Like, and Bronny's just a son. Like,
Mhm.
they're honoring him, but I mean, all he was with the Cavs was just a son of LeBron. So
Yeah, it was more of like it was a homecoming for LeBron, so they wanted Bronny to play in that for publicity reasons. That's all that was.
yeah, and what a nasty shot that he made. I mean, oh my goodness, start him now.
Oh,
And
Ryan is on the anti-Bronny coverage hype train right now.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I wish nothing but for the best, but I just don't think that. I don't know. I don't think he's that
It's
good.
LeBron's kid. He's gonna get coverage. That's all I'm gonna say.
Le, 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 LeBron, LeBron, LeBum, all the nicknames that he has.
Wait,
Le,
is Ryan a LeBron hater?
no, actually, no. Okay, I've told people this, and I'm not afraid to tell it because of me growing up with LeBron being on the Heat and the Cavs. LeBron's probably my favorite player of all time. To be honest, just who I grew up with. Yeah, he's probably my favorite because I don't know. I was a fan of him. He was on there. I just like the nicknames that everyone gets him. Like it's love, and then it's whatever's going on in the video. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, there are. Yeah, I mean his some of his nicknames are hilarious. Le Captain America being the most recent one. It's pretty awesome. I don't know what Ryan's about to talk about next, but man just got up and shut the door. So bro's about to drop some knowledge on me
I
real
I
quick.
heard some motion out there.
Nah, we don't want to hear no motion out there. I think
Anyone,
it's
anyone.
officially time to get into our game predictions. And what better game prediction to talk about than the one that I know Ryan is the most excited about? Number 4 Ohio State versus number 3 Penn State. Your Buckeyes are a 3-point favorite. What are your predictions on that game?
So I'm not gonna touch the spread because I never do with Ohio State, and I don't bet, but just like um, I've made like bet slips for my friends for them to do. Um, but obviously I'm gonna go with the Ohio State. But the past couple weeks just haven't. They don't give me a lot of confidence. We need to fix the O line because we have injuries. The running game has to get going. Will Howard just make good decisions, and the defense just has to show up. They did not show up against Oregon. It was a really tough game. Our offense did fine against Oregon. We have to give Jeremiah Smith a ton of receptions. He knows what to do. I mean, it seems like he's a vet and he's a freshman. It's nuts with him. But yeah, obviously I'm gonna go with the Ohio State against Penn State. But this game is like the same every year. It's always close the first three quarters, and then some team will pull away, and it's it's not gonna be a blowout. It's gonna be a really close game. I hope that we come out on top and beat Penn State. And yeah, I hope that JT Tuimoloau has another good game against Penn State.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with Ohio State. Look, James Franklin has not had success against the Buckeyes in his Penn State tenure. And I know I just got the update that Drew Aller will be playing, but overall,
Yep, I
I
saw
think
that.
the Buckeyes have too much firepower. And even like with some looking maybe not up to par the last couple weeks, usually what I've seen in the recent years is that we see this every year with Ohio State. They kind of like maybe not impressed for a couple weeks, but then the Penn State game comes and then they're back to looking like one of the best teams in the country. And I expect no different today. So I am rolling with the Buckeyes. And it would
Uh,
also be my best interest to bet on the Buckeyes because they're part of my parlay on FanDuel. So
Now we're gonna lose. I'm just kidding. Um, I'm just kidding. But second game, Pitt versus SMU. You go first.
I'm gonna go with Pitt on this one. I think Pitt gets a lot of hate because they really haven't played a tough schedule, but I kind of like what they do out there. I really like their quarterback Eli Holstein, and I think this is going to be a game that they need to prove that they are worthy of their record right now. So I'm gonna go with the Pitt Panthers.
So I am gonna go the other side, but I like Pitt a lot with Eli Holstein, transfer from Alabama. They're really good in college football 25. I played them. It's a really tough team to play. But I'm gonna go with SMU. I like their high powered offense. I like it like they go no huddle like all the time, like throughout the whole drive. And I like that. I think they're Their offense will be electric. It'll be hard to stop, but it'll be a very tough game for SMU against Pitt. 'Cause Pitt's a good team.
What's the next game you got?
Third game I chose, and this is I don't know why I chose this. Oregon, Michigan. Who you got at Michigan? 3:30.
Do I really got to
I think
answer?
it's a clear choice, but I think the spread was Oregon 15. Let's kind of go with that. Like
Yeah, I
with the
think
spreads.
Oregon's going to win by more than 15. Yeah, so Oregon, I mean, they've got things rolling. They're starting to click, chemistry wise, and Michigan just seems to look worse and worse each week. Yeah, I'm going to go with Oregon plus 15 on that one. Yeah, it says the line's 14 and a half, but I'm going to go Oregon plus 15 on this. Oregon's going to win by more than 15 is what I mean.
Yeah, I agree. I I think they will, and Michigan's kind of down bad. That I don't think they have Will Johnson right now,
Oh, he's
but
still out. I think he's still out. I can check it real quick though.
yeah, and that's huge for the defense. But it's really just Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant down the D line and run to the outside, and you're gone. I mean, Michigan State's running back. His last name was it was number 5. Nate Carter or something like that. He was really good against Michigan's D line and their defense last week. And yeah, I
Mhm.
think Oregon's just way too good. And I kind of see a blowout coming up. It'll be, I mean, Michigan being at home will help, but they're just not good. The last game I have is Duke Miami.
So I think Duke's going to keep it close for the first half, and then Miami's going to pull away in the second half. It's just basically going to come down to that Duke can't, Duke's offense struggles to get going. In their bigger matchups of the season that they've started slow on offense. And if we do that against Miami, our defense will be able to hang it, to keep us in the game for the first couple quarters. But then once the second half hits, I mean, Miami's just going to be Miami. Cam Ward's going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. So that's it.
I agree with Miami winning. I have them also, but I think it will be close. And I don't think Miami's defense is that good. I mean, they showed it. They have some good players like Maui Goer, Maui Ogo, however you say it. They're number one, they're linebacker. But I just I think it'll be close, but Miami will pull away and maybe we'll have another referee getting in the
Maybe we'll
game.
have
Who
another.
knows?
Who knows? But anyways,
Yeah,
we got less than a minute. So as always, like and subscribe to Less is More Sports YouTube and Spotify channel. Be sure to follow the social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Threads. That's at Less is More Sports. Also, be sure to follow the side quest on TikTok. That's Beanstab18. And until next time, this wraps up another episode of the Less is More Sports podcast.
Bean, Bean, Fiend, Bean, Fiend.
I don't know what that was for. He was very quiet today.